you started the new Salon Mentor Extreme in January. It's been exactly 77 days since most people set the New Year's resolutions. First of all, why did you call it an extreme? And then talk about the New Year's resolutions.
Well, after 30 years in business and over 20 years having my own hairdressing salons, I'm not the kind of person who can wait for a result. And what I also know is most of my clients who have salons, they want results as fast as possible. So when I thought about Salon Mentor, which I've been doing for a long time, and business mentoring, whenever I used to get results in the past, clients usually say to me, well, that's extreme, that's really powerful, it's really over the top. And I thought about it, and the results, they are extreme. They are extreme. I mean, to take, for example, an average bill and rise this bill up by 586.3%. I mean, 586.3%. That is an extreme result, and the impact on the salon and the business and the life of the business owner is extreme.
Well, can you just give us perhaps 3 examples from the latest extreme results?
Well, for example, one of the things I like to do with some of my salons is create a new service. But it has to be a service that's already in demand, because if you create a new service that is completely brand new and nobody's heard of and nobody wants, you have to educate the client. So what I like to do is I like to take an existing service, change it slightly and create a new service from that service. In one particular case, with one salon I've been working with at the moment, we did that very thing, and the result was just completely mind-blowing. It actually increased sales of this one particular service by 2,200%.
That's extreme.
I mean, an extreme result, to say the least. To take anything and increase it by 2,200%, it's pretty hard to believe, but it's true, it's verifiable, and it's extreme. Oh, you asked me for more as well. So, for instance, I'll tell you now, with one salon, I managed to increase their colour sales through the salon by roughly 700%. Now, 700%, you can imagine how many colours you have to sell to increase it by 700%. So it's an extreme figure, it's an extreme amount. And the impact on the salon was just unbelievable, really. Another salon I worked with very recently, it's really more of a turnaround to truthfully to save the salon, really. So the result not only had to be fast, not only had to be furious, but it had to be extreme. I managed to raise their income by 177.2% in 23 days.
That sounds extreme.
So it was extreme. It was very extreme, really. And, for these salon owners, it changed a lot of things. I'm not going to say it changed their lives in 23 days, but what it did do, it reduced a massive amount of pressure. I mean, a huge amount of pressure on their daily life, just for the ability that they could suddenly pay their bills and pay their staff and pay everything else. So the result was extreme.
So what kind of salons have you been working with? Is it just 1, 2 startups growing?
Well, over the years I've worked with every kind of salon you can think of, from top London salons to top Scotland salons to brand new salons. Recently I'm working with a salon that is under 1 year old. We've done an incredible job together. When I say together, they have applied everything I've told them to do, and the result has been nothing short of phenomenal. I mean, you want to use the word extreme, that has been an extreme turnaround. Completely brilliant. Again, absolutely verifiable or proven. Another one is a group of salons. They have 5 salons, just opened a brand new salon, and they have another 3 salons and a couple of barbershops. They've been around for over 30 years. Been doing a huge job with them, really. It's not as fast as extreme, but the owner of the salon, he applies every single thing we go through, and actually we've ended up doing a huge rebranding project with them as well, and of course all the other things like the management skills, which will eventually see everything rising quite fast. So we set a high goal, we're well on track for the goal, and I know the result is going to be another extreme result.
You've just mentioned the word management, and you've done a few management talks and stylists motivating, and essentially, can you just give us a background of the management help that you've been giving to the salon?
Well, most salons tend to make the manager somebody who's been in the salon the most, or they will employ a manager. But the reality is, for instance, in another world outside hairdressing, that wouldn't happen. And I've had the privilege of working in over 400 different industries, as well as the hairdressing industry. And management has a very fixed structure. Although in the hairdressing industry, obviously, we're more creative, so the structure may not be as fixed. But one thing we still need is the same as other businesses, we need to get a result. So most of the management problems are very, very solvable, because it's just a case of training managers and making managers understand what needs to be done. Most managers think if everything's okay, they are managing. But actually, you really need a manager when things are not really that okay. Can they manage, and can they fix, and can they put things back together when they fall apart? Can they motivate the staff? Can they increase colour sales? Can they increase client flow through the shop? So the management itself it's a pretty huge task, but it can be simplified. So what I tend to do is I tend to break down and simplify the process and focus on just one or two, well actually four. I focus on four main things during the management process, and that is a key to the extreme mentoring, to be quite honest.
Well, that sounds really exciting. I just wanted also to ask you about what was, because you've given a talk a couple of times during this extreme mentor program. Can you just say what was that about, and what was the outcome?
Well, the talk is really on the theme of extreme stylists. So what is an extreme stylist? Well, when I thought about this originally, I was an extreme stylist. And what I actually based that on was the wages I was getting paid and the lifestyle I was living, although I was a salon owner as well. But the fundamentals are exactly the same. How do you pack out a column? How do you be the number one in demand hairdresser? How do you become the best paid hairdresser? How do you charge more than anyone else? How do you create a value exchange between you and the client? How do you value yourself? So the whole presentation is just based around a more extreme, a more kind of punk rebel approach to column building. And ultimately, you know, we are all on earth to be happy. We're all on earth to create things, and part of that creation is creating a life. And if we're getting paid an average wage, or we're earning average money, we're not going to create the life that we really want, whether it be travelling or whatever it was going to be. So only extreme hairdressers can create what they really need from hairdressing.
This extreme mentoring is for 12 weeks. So how is that structured? Why is it 12 weeks, and how is the how does it work? Why is it just specifically 12 weeks?
Well, it's for 12 weeks as an introduction, but it can go on for a lot longer. With some clients it can go on for 3 years. So it's really up to the client. But 12 weeks is a mathematically worked out plan that should ultimately give the client or the salon owner the result that they need. How's it structured? There's no structure. There's no structure on Salon Mentor, because every salon I've worked with is completely different. So for the first 4 weeks in particular, it is extremely fast, extremely furious, extremely manic. We have to do 1,000,001 things as fast as we possibly can, because that's where the results come in. How does it work? I will contact the salon owner not once a month, not once every 2 weeks, not once a week, every single day, as often as I want to, and they can do exactly the same with me. So for instance, some salon owners will text me up to, and this is no exaggeration, between 50 and 100 times a day, through mainly through WhatsApp or through texting. And if they have a problem, we fix it. A problem, we fix it. A problem, we fix it. So we make sure that they're absolutely on track every minute of the day. They need help. During that 12-week period, they can speak to me however they want. And if they live close enough, they can just come round and knock on my door and I'll speak to them. So it's very full on, but generally the results are just pretty phenomenal, to be honest. They are pretty phenomenal. That's why, unlike a lot of mentors who take on sometimes hundreds of clients, I literally work with a handful at a time. For example, at the moment, well, I'm actually working with 13 salons at the moment, but 4 salons really full on. So it's very limited, it's very specialised, and believe me, it's extremely extreme.
And how can they contact you and apply finally?
Well, they can do it the old-fashioned way. They can call the office. The number's on the web page. They can contact me directly through WhatsApp. The number's on this page. They can text for a call back. Again, the number's on this page. Or again, the address is on this page. They can knock on the door and come and speak to me.
Alan Forrest Smith, thank you very much.